obviously have a lot of health coaches in my community, but also because my business is centered around food, I have people in all industries in my community. You know, people who are still working corporate jobs who are interested in B-School, photographers, just everything. So I love promoting B-School and sharing it with people because I'm like, no, I got it. You can get it too. It's not as hard as you think it is. So thank you for being here, and thank you for what you do.
Thrilled, absolutely thrilled. It's our 7th year doing the program, and we believe in it. And for me, why I am so passionate about this work is because now there's been tens of thousands of people, and I read stories literally every single day of folks' lives who have dramatically changed. I meet them on the street right now. I'm in LA, and so often, I don't know what it is about LA. I don't know if it's because of the weather. We're spending so much more time outside, but I literally run into people on the street every day who are B-Schoolers who run up to me and give me a hug and tell me the most crazy stories about how their entire lives are different and they're different human beings. So that's why I believe in it.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it completely changed my life. I think I would probably be in corporate America right now, trying to get out or not loving what I do had I not found it. So, first I want to start with this is kind of two questions but wrapped into one because I think that they're really similar. Sure. Is one, why even try to make money online? And I think a lot of women, they even think like, why should I even want to make money in general? Is it okay? Is it greedy? They know they want it. They know they have an idea, but there seems to be something that's like stopping them. What is that? And like, why are we even doing this?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of reasons. One, why should I try to make money online? Because it's 2016 and the internet is everywhere and it is not going away. Like, this is a pervasive part of our lives. If you go out to any restaurant, you walk on the street, all you do is see people on their phone, right, doing this constantly. This thing is your ticket to the world. This thing, the computer that we're on right now, it is the most powerful tool in modern times, actually in all of human history, for each of us to have the ability to take our gifts, our talents, our products, our services, our ideas, and get them out to the people who need them most. And in terms of women and money and independence, Elizabeth, this is a subject very dear to my heart. I believe that women need to have their own money, should have their own money, make their own decisions. And quite frankly, there's a large portion of our B-School community where the women are the breadwinners. Not that there's anything wrong with the men, but there is a big tectonic shift happening in our society right now. And some of our most successful B-Schoolers are actually women who, whether they chose to become the breadwinner or circumstances arose where they had to take care of their families. We have a huge population of single moms where there was no other option, literally no other option. And so for me, it's vital that women have financial independence. It's vital that we have money to not only take care of ourselves and our family, but more importantly, to do the work that we want to do in the world and make the changes that we want to make. I think one of the biggest threads that runs through our community, what we take a stand for in B-School and what the outcome is that people produce as a result of being in B-School, is that they're not only able to take care of themselves, but they're now becoming philanthropists, and they're devoting their time and their energy and their resources to some of the world's biggest challenges. Sometimes they're local and community-based, and sometimes they're global, and they're going and doing things around the world that they once only dreamed of. But I do believe we as women have to really own our independence in every sense of that word, and that includes our financial independence.
Oh my God, so well said. I've always known that I'm a teacher, and whenever I've taken a personality test or a career test, it's like you're a teacher. But I never felt called to go, to university education to become a teacher. And as I my online business, people would ask me, "How are you doing that?" Being a health coach or doing an online business. And I just started teaching what I was doing, and it was like, "Oh, I'm a teacher. This is how I'm teaching." But what you said about the income and changing the world. To be a teacher, I've always known I have to continue to go to retreats and take courses and classes and experiences, and all of that costs money. People, wonder how I built my business, and I'm always doing some different type of online program or going somewhere. I just got back from Cuba, and life once in a lifetime type of a trip. In order to teach, I have to keep learning, but in order to do that, I have to make money to go to all this stuff. So, there's I see so many people hitting their heads up against, well, I want to take this course and I want this education, but I don't have the money to do it. It's like the backwards way of thinking. You need to create your online business so you can do those things.
Yeah, and most of us don't start off with a ton of resources. I didn't start off wealthy. My mom grew up in poverty, and when I started my business, I was tens of thousands of dollars in debt, like many of us are when we get out of college. So I get that. I understand that. But I also know, not only from my own experience, but from millions of other people, and certainly from a large degree of our B-schoolers, most people don't have money to start off. Like, I remember when I wanted to first get educated and do certain things and kind of grow myself as a human being, I had to put skin in the game. And it meant me working 7 days a week, putting some stuff on credit cards. And you know what? I was never being irresponsible because I could bet on the investment in me. I knew that I could bet on the ROI of me, that if I was going to put myself in something, I was going to do everything possible to squeeze as much knowledge, as much experience, as much wisdom to take it forward and to grow myself as a human being. And I've never regretted once investing in myself.
Yeah, and I just want to point out to all of our community who's watching this, something that's so brilliant about Marie, and Marie, I appreciate this about you, is you've learned so much in the past, 15, however many years of your career, and then you put that into B-School for us so that we don't have to spend 15 years learning what you learned. And that's
Yeah.
very cool. That is really amazing.
Well, the other thing that's great about B-School as well is, like, I'm not a person who can rest on my laurels. Sometimes folks, they'll put together a particular program, even if it's about business, and then they don't revisit that content for like 5 years. Well, 5 years in the digital world is literally like 2 decades. So we're constantly going back into B-School. We have rich conversations all the time in the Facebook group. Every year we're tweaking and refining things so that you not only have the timeless principles and the understanding and how to really get things done. Those things kind of never change. There are certain things about marketing. There's certain things about human psychology. There's certain things that you just need to know and understand. You need to make them a part of your DNA. Those are timeless. And then there's other pieces that change really fast. And you have to know how to balance those two. And I think that that's what we teach you. And that's what we get you to really live and breathe and execute on in B-School.
Yeah, I love that. I do B-School every year. I take a group through it, obviously, to mentor them, but I do it every year as a student to make my business plan for the following year. So I don't really do my business plan like December, January. I do it when B-School comes out. I take it as a student, and that's my business plan for the next year because things have changed and you are so generously giving us the updated content. So, yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. So something that I've been asked a lot recently is, like, people see the B-School videos, they see all these people doing awesome things, and they're like, but I don't know what my idea is yet. I know I could do something, but I don't know what it is yet. So I know you have the Start the Right Business pre-course for B-School, but what do you tell people when they're like, I know I have something, but I don't have my business idea yet?
So it's a really great question, by the way. And, honestly, some people, it's perfect that they jump into B-School. The folks who don't have an idea yet, but they're committed, they're like, I know I want to figure this out. There's something for me in this. It feels right in your heart. It feels right in every little bit of your soul and your being and your bones. Putting yourself in B-School, not just for Start the Right Business, which, by the way, is a program that walks you through very strategically, very methodically, how to vet your ideas from a viability standpoint to say, okay, could this make money? Is this going to make me happy? Do I like the path that I'd have to go down to make this business work? What is my definition of success? And it helps you really get clear on all of those things so that you can move ahead. But more importantly, though, and what I think is huge, people that have this inkling that they want to do it, they usually don't have support around them. They don't have other entrepreneurs around them. They don't have people to bounce ideas off of. And one of the most powerful parts of B-School is that energy of the group environment. Because a lot of us, we tell our ideas to our family or our friends and they think we're crazy. They have no idea what the hell that means. They're complete negative Nancy's. And then you wind up kind of getting sucked back down into their world, watching TV every night. And then 5 years go by and you're still living the same life and you're just getting older. That sucks. What happens in B-School if you have an inkling of something, but you're seeing all these different ideas, you're taking action, you're testing things, you're watching other people, there is some magic and some alchemy that happens within that container that literally allows you to give birth to the thing that you wanted to do. Like, a quick story. Someone came into B-School. I just read the story the other day. I didn't know this person at all. I'd never seen anything by her before, but she came into B-School, zero idea of what she wanted to do. Just had an inclination that she wanted to do something. Turns out she discovers she's a fine artist, never painted before in her life. And I know this is like not the typical business that you would start, right? In B school. She starts painting, and then all of a sudden she starts selling her prints and selling these cards and selling all these things. She's completely profitable, so happy, doing something that is perfectly suited for her that she couldn't have predicted or imagined until she got in the program and started to do the exercises, and then everything happened. So I can't guarantee that's going to happen for everyone, but it's happened so many times that it's a trend that, again, it's pretty consistent.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's funny how even as things come up and new projects come up for me, I'm like, can I put this through the B-school model? Yeah, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
Can I promote this via the B-school model? Yeah, that will work. I just I have a new TV series coming out on the Wellness Channel, and I'm like, can I somehow create a website around the B-school model to promote this? And it just all beautifully fits together. Like you can really use it for anything. So yeah,
Love it.
love that. The other question I get a lot, because I work a lot with Institute for Integrative Nutrition and I work with a lot of health coaches, and I know what my answer is to this, but I want to know what you have to say. They're like, Liz, it's so oversaturated. There's so many health coaches. There's so many life coaches. There's so many marketing experts. Like, what do you say to that?
Well, first of all, there's over 7 billion people on the planet. And, when you think about billion, like 1 billion people is almost too much for any of our minds to hold. And you multiply that by seven and change, it's unfathomable for most of us. So, in my opinion, there's more than enough to go around. And it's a little bit like when you choose a new car. I remember when we were shopping once for a Prius, this is years ago, and Priuses were kind of new. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh, another black Prius and another black Prius and another black Prius. So what happens with health coaches and with life coaches and marketing, you kind of get into this world and you're like, holy shit, it's incestuous. And this is what everybody does. It's so not true. The general population has no idea about a lot of this. Yes, is it becoming more well-known? But has it hit the mainstream yet? And does it mean that there's scarcity and there's not enough to go around? No way. And then the other thing I'd like to say is this. It's a symptom of this idea. It's all been done before. I don't have anything new to add. How am I going to stand out amongst all this competition? And I like to give people this analogy. Like if you think about your neighborhood, where you live, right? I happen to love Italian food. And there's a lot of Italian restaurants in New York City. Go even smaller. There's a lot of Italian restaurants in the West Village. And I like each of them for different reasons. They all have their own different vibe. One of them makes the most amazing eggplant parmesan. The other one's really known for burrata. There's like different things that people do well. If any one of those places said, you know what, it's New York City, there's like enough Italian restaurants, I'm really not going to do it. Think about how you would miss out. You can think about clothing designers. You can think about TV shows. You can think about, pop artists or musicians. If any one of them said, you know what, or like Oprah, when she was around, what was it, Barbara Walters and Phil Donahue, like, they've all got the talk show thing kind of down. I really shouldn't go there. It is such a waste of who you are as a human being. And I honestly think it's an excuse. It's an excuse to play small. It's an excuse to just be miserable. It's an excuse to hold back your gifts. And, one of the things we say on Marine TV is the world needs that special gift that only you have. There is no one on the planet with your perspective. No one on the planet who has been through what you've been through. No one on the planet who has your stories. And there are people out there that need to hear what you have to say from you. They might have heard about juicing before from X, Y, or Z, or they may have heard about gluten-free eating from this person over here, some article in the New York Times. But it's not until you say it to them that some change is going to happen where they need to hear it from you, and then the transformation happens. So I think, honestly, it's an excuse that most people use to keep themselves small. And then on a tactical level, in B-school, we walk you through exactly how to identify your unique gifts, articulate that, and then shape your business so that you stand out from the competition, not by putting anyone else down, but dialing up your unique strengths. Again, we do that in the first two modules. We do that throughout all of B-school so that you're able to not just feel good and know that you're unique, but actually execute on that and show that in the marketplace in a brilliant way.
Yeah, that's perfectly said. Something that just came up for me that I get asked a lot, actually, a little bit random. I mean, on that subject, but a little bit random. When someone's just starting their business and they want to be a marketing coach, and they're watching you, or they want to be a health coach, and they're watching me, or they're watching someone like Chris Carr, who's just like killing it everywhere. how do you tell them how to emulate and not try to copy and like actually find their own brand? How do you, I know that's content in B school that people can go through, but like, what advice do you have for people with that?
Yeah, well, I think, one of the first things that all of us do when we're trying to learn anything is we look out into the world and see what else is out there, right? So if you're trying to learn how to cook, you go to cookbooks sometimes and you look at certain recipes, and then you're able to kind of improv and do your own thing and have a master mix. But I think in terms of, someone looking and saying, oh, wow, Chris Carr, Elizabeth Ryder, wow, they're doing such beautiful things. It's about looking under the hood and saying, well, what are they doing right? Oh, they're very honest and authentic about who they are. So rather than trying to sound like them and copycat their voices, it's like, oh, well, I can tell my own personal stories. What do you like about their website? Oh, it's really clean. There's gentle, feminine colors. I don't know, I'm making things up off the top of my head. But I think it's possible to observe something that you appreciate, look at something that you admire, and be able to extract the qualities that you also want to build in yourself without becoming a carbon copy of someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, beautiful. Something I get asked a lot about B-School too, because we've talked a lot even on this call about like coaches and services and whatnot, but there are a lot of people who sell goods.
Yeah.
You might be selling clothing or jewelry, or like you just talked about an artist. How does B-School fit in well? I know it fits in so well with services, of course, because
Yeah.
content marketing is like where it's at. But as far as goods, how does B-School help somebody who's selling goods?
Well, content marketing is actually important for goods as well. If you think about fashion, right? Think about all the fashion brands that are dominating Instagram. Why? It's a visual medium. And then you can click right through and you can go buy that. So, in my opinion, if we're talking about content marketing, there is a way to effectively execute on that no matter what you sell. You just have to be creative. Anyone who says, oh, this won't work for my business, you're actually just being lazy. You're not thinking hard enough. But in terms of specifically, does B School work for product based businesses? Yes. And in fact, over the past 3 years, we've put this special focus and we've taken some of our B schoolers who have physical product based businesses and asked them, hey, what do you think about this module? What do you have to say if someone is in your shoes just a couple of years earlier and they're saying, I don't know how this applies to me? So we have new fun sheets, we have answers, we have everything that really takes everything that we do in B School. And if you're having any challenge as a product based business, there's not only people, but there's wisdom and there's specific exercises that we put you through. So you can take everything that we teach and see exactly how it applies to your kind of business.
Yeah, that's great. And some goods start off as online businesses with the intent, they might have, even there's packaging it in their house or they have a warehouse somewhere and they don't really have a storefront and they're meaning intentionally from the beginning to sell online.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, I have a friend here in Bozeman who has a clothing store. If you are an actual physical boutique selling whatever goods,
Yep.
food, jewelry, clothes, if you already have an established physical brick and mortar business, that model will work the same, correct?
Yeah, I mean, one of the folks that we had this year in video number 3, her name is Grace, and she has 3 boutiques. I think 2 in New York City, 1 in Brooklyn, or it might be the flip flop: 1 in New York City and 2 in Brooklyn. Physical locations. And she took B School years ago, and she figured out all kinds of ways to use B School to drive up the revenue of, her actual retail store, and then also build new revenue streams of things that she wanted to do that involved the internet. In terms of driving revenue completely virtually. So it works as long as you want to work it. It's, you got to think about it this way. Every business on the planet, doesn't matter what you sell, has to effectively market and sell, right? You have to close. You have to be able to attract fans, turn them into happy customers, and hopefully keep them loyal fans for life that keep sending you business. And I also believe too, Elizabeth, as the future continues to go on and technology embeds itself deeper and deeper into our lives, and we start to get into things like virtual reality, that's coming very soon, the Internet of Things, that's exploding, AI, artificial intelligence, that's going to be embedded in every part of business. I think one of the big shifts that all of us have to be prepared for as entrepreneurs, that no matter what you sell, you're going to have your customer service game tight. Here's what I mean. because as things get more technologically infused, we human beings are going to crave real human connection. And one of the things that we teach you how to do, I think, very well in B-School is create outstanding customer experiences, so that as this future goes on and gets more digitized and people somewhat feel more removed, that you're one of the people that leans in from a humanity perspective, and you know how to make people feel genuinely loved and cared for, make them really know that your business is there for them. And I think those are the brands that are going to win in the future.
Yes. Yeah, it's so true. It's so funny. Right before this webinar, someone emailed and said, "Can I invite a friend?" And so I responded right away and I said, "Yeah, absolutely. Send this link." And she said right back, "It's so nice to know that an actual person just responded to me." And I said, "Well, hop on the webinar because you're going to see both me and Marie in our home offices.
Yeah.
This is where we're at. This is how we work. This is if you. I'm sure Marie's on her computer right now. If you found her in the middle of the day and she just popped her webcam on, this is what you'd be seeing. So me too."
This is exactly what you'd be saying. You know what I mean? If I'm here right now, I'm in LA. Sometimes I'm in New York, but I run into people constantly on the street. I bring my laptop with me to a coffee shop and see people like, "Hey, Marie TV fan." This is how it rolls. But that humanity piece,
Yes.
so many of us are afraid, and sometimes we can hide behind our computers, and we're afraid to get out there and really talk with people. But that's what you need to do if you want to win now and in the future. You got to get close to people. You got to be that real human. You got to interact.
Yeah, that's something I learned hugely from your team is going through BSchool the past, I think I've been 5 years. Every time I email, a real person responds to me within like 24 business hours. And as a business owner for myself, as my brand started to grow, I was getting so many contact form messages and so many emails. And I would think, do I really have to respond to all of these? Or, can I just delete? Or if it's not, if it's a random person asking me for random health coaching advice, do I have to respond? And I do have an assistant, and I have set up the model where just like your team, I'm like, yes, we respond to everything. We don't, necessarily give free health coaching advice. We tell them that we're not allowed to do that, but they at least get a response so they know that their email was received. So that's something hugely that I learned in B-School, and it's really benefited my brand. So thank you for that.
You got it.
Something else people really struggle with, and I think one of the reasons they don't start is because they're struggling with, I only have a certain amount of time. Can I really do something part-time? Which I think is how a lot of brands and businesses start, especially blogs, personality brands. Do you think that people have to like quit their job and go all in? Or do you see a lot of people kind of doing a side business and then letting it grow organically till they can leave their job?
Yeah. So this is a great question. And there's a few things I want to say about it. Number one, I had side gigs besides my coaching business for nearly 7 years before I went all in online. And there was a few reasons for that. One was that I was very, very passionate about health and fitness as well. And I was teaching for Nike, and I was teaching hip hop, and I was traveling around the world. And I loved that part of my business and my career. But secondarily, I was living in New York City. I was bartending. I was waiting tables. And that was a huge portion of my income that allowed me to keep a roof over my head and keep food on the table so that I can continue to figure out how to grow this online business from a place of real integrity and to do it slowly and organically, because that's part of my DNA. I have other friends that the way that they're built, they have to kind of go all in on something because that's what fires them up, right? That's what gives them that charge and that pressure to really make results happen. That's not how I'm built. And so if anyone listening feels like, gosh, can I really do something on the side? The answer is yes, of course you can. That's how millions of us do it. We start very slowly. We build momentum, and then when it feels right and when it is right and we go, you know what, I'm ready to take this full time, I want to take this full time, it makes sense financially and emotionally to do this, then you pull that trigger. But the great thing about B-School is, it's an amazing course because once you're a B-Schooler, you're a B-Schooler for life. You can take it at your own pace. We've had folks say that our material is more comprehensive than their Ivy League MBAs. And I literally have people that have written me that, like, I have an Ivy League MBA and this was more applicable in the real world. PhD is saying this is incredible. And you don't have to do it all in 8 weeks. You can do it at your own pace. Like, we're all there for you. Ain't nothing going anywhere. You got the material for life. So it's like, if that is the path that you want to take, little bit at a time, which I actually recommend, you gain momentum, you can do it. And I would say, don't wait. I don't know what people are waiting for in life, but the only thing that passes is time. You get older, the world starts going by faster, and then all of a sudden you feel more overwhelmed because you're out of the game. But once
Yeah.
you're in the game and you're doing it and you start to understand it and you take these small actions every day, it's incredible what you can accomplish in a year or two.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's so true. I started part time as well, and I freelanced a lot. And I also tell people, in line with what you just said, you just have you have no idea what your good ideas are yet, because they come as you're moving forward. The little steps you take, like if I would have looked at my business 5 years ago, there's no possible way I would have imagined what it would look like today. Like
Correct.
it wasn't even. It's not that it was too far of a reach. It wasn't even in the view. It wasn't even in the view, and even a year ago. So you don't get those good ideas. You find your best ideas as you're taking your steps forward. You don't find your best ideas where you're sitting here thinking, should I do a business? That's not when your best ideas come to you. Your best ideas come when you're in the thick of it. So that's always when I have my best ideas, when I'm actually like when I'm in the middle of a project and I'm trying to do something. And then I'm like, oh, I just had the best idea. I need to write it down so I can finish this. But at least it came to me. Yeah.
I mean, you speak to, this is one of my life's mantras, and this will serve everybody on the call, whether you do B-School or not. Clarity comes from engagement, not thought. You are not going to think your way into being a business success. It's never going to happen on your couch. It's never going to happen listening to podcasts. It's never going to happen unless you actually get in there and execute and do something. And that's why I'm so proud of what we do in B-School, because we have so much fun getting things done and experimenting and creating this space where people go out and they do something, they come back with the results, and we all talk about it, and then you get to, inform your next move. Okay, let's try this, let's try that, what worked for you. It's so exciting and supportive. Like, to think that you're going to do it by yourself, just like, meditating your way into success, is just not going to happen.
No, no, yeah, I totally agree. So what were you afraid of when you got started, or were you afraid of anything? Where when you think back to Marie, so how many years ago when you're starting? I actually remember, Marie, this is like when I was very first starting my online business. This is like 7 years ago. It's probably, I don't even know if B-School had come out yet. And you had this web page, and it was like kind of pink on top, and it said RHH, like Rich, Happy, and Hot. And it was a picture of you. It had this like awesome copy. And this was like 7 or 8 years ago. This was a long time ago. So you had already kind of started, like when you're in that phase, even before that, what was the fear in your mind? What was there?
Yeah, well, I'll take it back even further, because I've been doing this now almost 17 years. So, like, what you're talking about was like a decade in. Wow. So, way back, I was both afraid of everything and I was afraid of nothing. So let me tell you what that means. I was 23 when I started my business, and I had such bravado and such confidence, and I don't know where that came from, that I thought I could be a life coach at 23, which is like, that's crazy. Like, I hadn't even lived that much life yet, but I was super committed and I was so passionate. So in that sense, I was somewhat fearless. The other thing too is I come from a very hardworking family. Like, everyone works their butts off. I've worked since I was 9 years old. So work for me is like oxygen, right? So I knew when I was starting my business and I was bartending at night and waiting tables and doing personal assistant work for other people, the reason I was somewhat fearless was because I didn't force my new business to make money and put food on the table. Does that make sense? So I was so completely willing to like go all in and like try everything, because I'm like, I'm going to go make money at the bar at night, or I'm going to go clean someone's toilet, and I'll have that money. So in that sense, I was fearless. Now, the other side of that coin, completely afraid of everything, totally scared because I felt insecure about my age, felt so uncomfortable trying to get my first coaching clients, like just fearful that I wouldn't be able to deliver value, wasn't sure of myself because I hadn't had that much life or experience yet. Afraid that I wouldn't do a good job or that I'd disappoint people, completely terrified that I was making the wrong decision because all of my friends had really stable jobs and, they were kind of climbing the corporate ladder. Terrified that I was making the wrong choices because I sacrificed a lot. When so many of my friends were doing bachelorette parties in Vegas and going to Miami and doing all these kind of fun things that folks do in your 20s, I completely had my head down and was working nonstop. I was trying to figure out what I was supposed to do in this world and trying to figure out how to grow a meaningful business in this, what was new, an online world. The internet was kind of brand new in the late 90s and the early 2000s.
Yeah, for sure. Something that you just said that I know that you're so good at getting people over this. If you can talk to everybody on the webinar about this. What I see so much, and I don't know if like the health coach community just attracts this, or if I think everybody has this, but I think I just see this like is the most predominant thing. I see women especially so afraid 20s, 30s, 40s, all of them, so afraid of what everybody else thinks that they never take action.
Mm-hmm.
So afraid of what if I look dumb, or what if people are judging me, or people are gonna think I'm like a hippy dippy health coach eating my chia seeds, being all wacky off over here eating raw food.
Yeah.
How do you help women? How do you teach them just to own who you are, and just like, it drives me absolutely bananas when I see someone not living the way they want to live because they're afraid of what everybody thinks. Like,
Yeah.
and you talked about that in your last episode of Marie TV about the 5 regrets that people have in dying. That beautiful, beautiful interview and beautiful book, which everybody should go watch, by the way, on YouTube on Marie's channel. But how do you help them just make that shift to be like, I'm going to just compartmentalize what everybody else thinks, and I'm going to move forward with the way that I want to live?
Well, I think it's an interesting process. Someone has to be ready for this. They have to be ready to, like, honestly, and forgive me for questioning you guys, but you can't give a fuck what other people say or think about you, because honestly, there's folks that don't like you right now. There's probably people you think are friends that talk behind your back. That you might have family or acquaintances who, it's like, are you going to live your life for them, or are you going to live your life for you? And one of the things that I think I'm good at is getting people to take action and getting people to focus outward on what they're meant to do in this world, how they're here to serve, and get them so in the game and so having momentum that they start to forget about those conversations. Like, they're having such a friggin' good time getting results and making things happen in their lives that all of a sudden they almost forget to be afraid. I know it's a weird thing, but again, we've seen it happen time and time again, where people come in kind of terrified, and then we put them through this experience and they're like, I'm totally confident. This is awesome. I am doing, and I don't care. I'm finally being myself and expressing myself, and I don't mind. And it doesn't mean that you have to necessarily offend anyone or anything like that. But, it's like, you can sit around and be afraid your whole life, and you will get to your deathbed and you will have regrets. And there's no rewind button for any of us. Or you can choose to be brave, and you can choose to do what you want to do in your heart, and you can choose to be of service and actually use the gifts that you were put on this planet to give others. And I think it's a daily choice. I don't think it's necessarily easy. If we could bottle it up and put it in a shake or put it in a juice and have people suck it back, that would be awesome. But I do know it's kind of one of the byproducts of hanging out with our community, that you do kind of let all of those fears fall away, and you just get out there and you get it done.
Yeah, thank you. And I love that. And BSchool does focus on service. And I know for me, whenever I'm getting into the space of fear or questioning or whatever I'm doing, I just have to go back to, how am I being of service? How am I being used? How am I using my own gifts to help? When you focus on service, you don't have time to think about all of those other things that are holding you back. It's really actually a selfish process to stay inside of yourself and not give any of your gifts. When you shift that and focus on service.
There's a really simple idea. It's called, no two things can occupy the same space at the same time. So in any given moment, you're either completely preoccupied and you're talking to yourself about everyone's going to hate you and they're going to criticize you and they're going to judge you and you ain't getting shit done. Or in that same moment, you could be writing that email, creating that blog post, reaching out to that client or customer, giving that talk, doing whatever it is that you really want to do. You can't do both at once, though. You can't be sitting there like a scaredy pants worried about what everyone else is going to think, and at the same time being of service. And that one micro distinction and understanding, if you can check yourself before you wreck yourself, anytime you find that you're like just stuck in your head, like, you got to take that light and shine it out and get into action.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much. We have a few questions here, so a little rapid fire if we have time. But is there anything else that you want to add? I mean, we just talked about like the most amazing things.
Yeah, no, I would want to add something. As it relates to BSchool, a lot of people are afraid for many different reasons, afraid that they can't do it, afraid they don't have the time, afraid that they don't have the money, afraid that it's not going to be right. And I would say to you, if you feel it in your heart and something is really exciting about this, just do it. Like, absolutely go for it. We are a company that have been around. Like, I've been doing this for 17 years. BSchool is in its 7th year. There is a very reasonable and generous refund period. You can try out BSchool for 2 weeks. As long as you do the work, you actually do the work, you turn in your homework and you tell us, you know what, it's just not for me. I tried it, but it didn't really work. You get all of your money back. So it's like there's nothing to lose, literally nothing to lose and everything to gain. So Elizabeth will tell you, thousands of our students will tell you, but if you feel it in your heart and in your gut, dude, go for it. It'll be the best experience of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll add to just so everybody knows, I get so many questions about my online business. And I said this before, but I'll say it again. I actually do BSchool every year as a student. And I bought it once, so I get to do it every year with Marie. I don't have to buy it a second or third time. You're already in. I do it every year as my business plan. So if you like my business, if you've been watching my business and you want a similar business, that's how I create my business plan for the year. That's how I create my business. So, and I take a group through every year. So, yeah, I just can't more highly recommend it. So we have a few questions here. Marie, on your side, can you see the questions? I don't know if you can see them on the questions panel.
I cannot, but I will listen to you if you don't mind reading them.
This is a very specific question for my audience, actually, I think, because, and a few people have asked this. I'm one of the probably first and few people who have done my network marketing business online and gotten a lot of customers and built my entire network online. So I know you guys, Marie's not in a network marketing company. That's not her area. But do you have any thoughts on, it obviously worked for me. So I would give it a wholehearted yes that this can work if you're trying to build your business in direct sales. But is there anything you want to add to that, Marie?
Well, I would say you and another dear friend of mine who's in direct sales as well. When people ask me, does it work for network marketers? I actually think of you guys. I'm like, well, it worked for them. I can't speak to it directly because, as you shared, it's not my area of expertise. I don't have experience in that. But goodness, if you're listening to this call and that's your question and you're considering doing BSchool, dude, do it through Elizabeth. She will tell you how she did it. She has the best insight for anyone. But in terms of a bigger picture answer, getting people to trust you, earning people's trust, delivering value, getting them into your world, and then being able to close sales, that's vital for every business, no matter what your model is. That's what we are brilliant at teaching you. The mechanics of network sales directly, like I said, go to Elizabeth. She's done it. There are other people that have done it, so they can teach you that. But those underpinnings of what it takes to pull people in, to gain real trust, to create real relationships, and then close sales, dude, it's a winning combination.
Yeah, I totally agree. I tell people all the time, there's not really that big of a difference between, direct sales, network marketing, or any other business. You have to learn the same business skills in order to do business. Every industry has some things that are specific, but yeah, there's really not that big of a difference. I hope that helped everybody. I had a question here, so I just want to clarify this, saying, I hear people retaking BSchool every year. Is there a new fee or is it free? No, you buy it totally free every year after. Yeah, and Marie, that's so generous. And I think you probably have a reputation in the industry as being unbelievably generous, and you have made so many shifts in other people to be more generous too. So that's you're definitely for it. That's an amazing thing that we get to do. Yeah. Let me go to some people pre-submitted questions real quick. Marie, does BSchool teach anything about search engine optimization or SEO?
We don't as part of the core modules, right? Because SEO is one of those things that every time Google comes out with its update, they change all their algorithms, and it's a beast that really, like this, it's like Facebook in terms of their rules that they change. So we don't have a module on it. However, we have many conversations about it in terms of our community, and there's always people sharing resources. Hey, here's what's working now. I do share resources so that if you want to go check it out, you want to learn more about it, here are the people that I trust. But it's not something we teach you because, frankly, and this is just me being honest, I didn't use any of that to build my business. I didn't have to. The quality of my content and just understanding some basics about CEO, which we do talk about, are all you need. But if you want to kind of go whole hog in and you want to dive into that world, there's lots of conversations and we can point you in the right direction, but it's not one of the core modules. And speaking of that too, just Elizabeth will direct you there. We put our entire curriculum online so you can see exactly what we cover. So there's no questions. We don't hold anything back. We give you extra surprises, but what you see is what you get. I want people to feel really comfortable knowing what we cover and what we don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had heard from Marie however many years ago that she didn't really use SEO to build her business. And that's never really been a big part of my business either. It's really just been the BSchool model of, I think on my, that's a technical thing, but on WordPress, you can put an SEO plugin and it kind of automates myself. Like I have that, but I'm not like consistently like having an SEO plan and doing all of that because the content marketing, the way Marie teaches it just works.
It does, and it does embed and include some smart SEO, but it's human based, not trying to game the system based. And the other thing I'll say is this: I actually hired a very reputable SEO company a few years ago, spent tens and tens of thousands of dollars investing in it because I wanted to learn and I wanted to see what I didn't know, and it was a total failure. That, now, I'm not to say that there's not other companies that are great, but again, I built a very successful brand without it, focused on the quality of content, focused on some very simplistic ideas about SEO that worked with a very reputable company, soaked a lot of money, did not get a huge return. So yeah.
Yeah. Someone just asked, how long is BSchool? It is 8 weeks. There are 6 modules with 2 implementation weeks, but you have access for life.
Yep.
So you can always revisit it. So Marie, what's the benefit of going through that live course, the live 8 week?
So first of all, BSchool has a lot of information. I don't know if I've met anyone who's done every single exercise or watched every single thing the first time around. And that's because everyone's at different parts in their businesses. But the benefit to going through the program, through those 8 weeks, if you can, is there's so much energy and interaction. You know, we kind of look at one aspect together as a community. We have calls, there's Q&As, there's member questions, there's the Facebook group. So there's a lot of ways that we kind of dive into the content, peel it back, look at it from different angles. And just the energy of doing something with folks in time is huge. But I will also say this: we have B-schoolers, you know, they form friendships, a lot of meaningful friendships in the community. They're like, hey, who wants to do it again? Let's go through 8 weeks. Yeah, I'll do it. And we also have another feature. It's called the DIY feature of B-school, where you can just send a particular email and then you can trigger, so you can kind of have the 8-week experience on your own, should you want to go through it, where you'll get kind of coaching from me, not live, but my ideas and everything that kind of goes along with that 8-week experience.
Yeah, I get a lot of like, oh, Liz, I have a trip planned in March, or it's spring break and we're taking the kids somewhere. Should I sign up? And I'm like, yes, because it only opens once a year. So still sign up, because then you can go through it in May, June, even October, November, when you actually do have time. Because if you don't enroll during this period, it's actually until a whole another year that you do that, which is actually brilliant, and it really helps everyone. There is so much momentum in that live 8-week course. Like I had people like taking selfies of them crying, like, I just finished. This is the first thing I've ever finished, and I'm like, oh my God, I love it. It's really amazing. So a couple of other really quick questions here. Some of these are really specific, and my answer would be you have to like take BSchool. Regarding list building, will you tell us the services that you use and recommend, and how to send a welcome email to opt-ins? So Maria, I'll let you answer that too, but what I was going to say is, as far as using specific services, I always direct people back to the tutorials of that company, because we, of course, can't teach you every single software's ins and outs. But places like MailChimp or Aweber or Entreport, they all have amazing tutorials. So we'll tell you what we use, but they'll all teach you how to use it. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, no, it's just, it's so easy these days to learn a lot of the technical things that you need to know about almost any piece of software, about any piece of hardware like a phone. I just learned things about microphone equipment, and I taught myself everything online. So in terms of recommended service providers, we absolutely give you a list. We tell you exactly who we use, who we recommend, and why. But frankly, there's so many different choices based on your budget, based on your needs, based on your business, and also based on your taste level. So I always coach people, like, reach out to people's customer service. Do you like that company? Do you like the interface? A lot of these folks have free trials, so you can go in and kind of play around. Believe it or not, something as simple as a UI, like the user experience and the user interface, can make a difference whether or not you feel comfortable in a particular piece of software.
Absolutely.
So you just need to do that on your own. But of course, we give you the direction. And, a lot of companies are great, so you got to make that choice.
Yeah. One more question here. What is the best way for a very new business with no following it on social media to get visible online and find their community? My answer is to do BSchool. Marie, what's yours?
Yeah, for sure. But it really depends. I mean, it's too general of a question, quite frankly, for me to give a really tactical answer, because I would need to know a little bit more about who those customers are, where they're hanging out, what you're trying to do. Those are the kind of things I can dig into if I had more. But obviously, it's everything that we teach in BSchool.
Very general question. Anything else? I mean, thank you so much, Maria. I know that we're just running out of time. We've got 1 minute left. Anything that you'd like to add? And thank you again so much for being here.
Oh, it's my honor. It's my pleasure. I love this. I just believe that we're in a place in time on the planet where we need more than ever to capitalize on the creativity and the ingenuity and the drive of creatives and makers and entrepreneurs who not only want to build businesses that make money, but more importantly, businesses that want to make a difference. There are a lot of problems that we need to solve in this world. And, when we think about health and we think about the state of our bodies in this country, and we think about healthcare and all the different challenges, we cannot wait for government to fix these problems.
Right.
It's going to be up to us, the individuals, right? Can't depend on big corporations. I think it's going to be the little folks. I think it's going to be people like you and I that are going to take a stand and speak out and do things and take action that moves the needle ahead. And I will tell you this, like when you think about your life, our time on this planet is so short. It is unbelievably short. None of us know when we're going to go. All we can do is the best we can. And for me, I'm committed to living a life with no regrets. And part of that is making sure that every single day I am doing the work that I was born to do, that I'm making the difference that I was born to make, and that I'm reaching out and helping others. And I can think of no better way to do that than to have a business that you love and to be doing what you were put on this planet to do.
Yeah, that just like that gives me goosebumps. I'm so excited to do BSchool again as a student. Like you just made me want to do BSchool again as a student. So thank you again for being here. You guys, if you have questions, contact me at info@elizabethrider.com and my team will help you with anything. And you can also learn more about going through BSchool with my group and all the extra training that I give you too. So Marie, thank you for being here again, and I will hear and see you in the first module.
Yay! Bye everyone. Thanks
Bye,
for
everyone.
spending the afternoon with us.